Your doubt is not your intuition. It's your trauma pretending to protect you. And here's the disturbing reality: cognitive psychologists have discovered that 85% of what we worry about never happens, yet we allow the doubt to make 100% of our major life decisions. You're not being realistic when you doubt yourself. You're being held hostage by a voice that was installed by people who doubted themselves. By the end of this video, I'll reveal the exact cognitive override technique that silences self-doubt in real time. But first, you need to see what listening to that voice is stealing from you. Let me show you what's happening right now. You have an idea, a dream, a goal, and the moment you think about pursuing it, a voice appears. Who do you think you are? You're not qualified, you'll probably fail, and you think that voice is wisdom, that it's protecting you from embarrassment, but it's not. It's the echo of every person who ever doubted you, and you've internalized it so deeply that you think it's you, but it's not you. It's programming. And the worst part is, you're obeying it. You're letting a voice that was installed by fear make decisions for a life that could be defined by courage. Here's what nobody tells you about doubt. It's not based on reality. It's based on prediction. And predictions are made from past data. Your brain scans your history, finds similar situations, and predicts the outcome based on what happened before. But here's the problem: your past is full of moments when you were younger, less skilled, less capable. And your brain is using that outdated data to predict your future. You're not doubting your current self. You're doubting a version of you that doesn't exist anymore. And that version has no business making your decisions. Now here's the brutal part. Every time you listen to the doubt, you reinforce it. You strengthen the neural pathway that says, when I think about doing something big, I should stop. And the more you obey the voice, the louder it gets. Until it's not just questioning big decisions. It's questioning everything: what you wear, what you say, whether you belong in the room. You've trained your brain to doubt as a default, and default doubt is a life sentence in a prison you built yourself. Let me tell you what self-doubt costs you. First, opportunities die before you even try. You don't apply, you don't ask, you don't start. Second, identity shrinks. You become someone who plays small, who stays safe, who never finds out what they're capable of. Third, regret accumulates. Every "I should have tried" becomes a weight you carry. Fourth, time evaporates. Years pass and you're still in the same place because doubt convinced you to wait. And waiting is just a polite word for quitting in slow motion. Here's what's actually happening in your brain. Doubt originates in your amygdala, your fear center. When you think about doing something new or big, your amygdala perceives it as a threat, not to your life, to your ego, to your self-image. And it activates a protection response. It floods you with anxiety and generates thoughts designed to stop you from acting. You're not ready. People will judge you. You don't have what it takes. And these thoughts feel true, but they're not truth. They're threat mitigation. Your brain is trying to keep you safe from embarrassment, but safety from embarrassment is the same as safety from growth. Now here's the shift that changes everything. High performers don't have less doubt than you. They just have a different relationship with it. They hear the voice and they recognize it for what it is: fear disguised as reason. And instead of obeying it, they thank it and move anyway. Thanks for trying to protect me. I'm doing this anyway. They've learned to separate the signal from the noise. And the noise is doubt. The signal is desire. If you want something despite the doubt, that's your real voice. And that's the one you follow. Here's the framework. Self-doubt operates in three forms: worthiness doubt, capability doubt, outcome doubt. Worthiness doubt says I don't deserve this. Capability doubt says I can't do this. Outcome doubt says this won't work. And all three are lies. But you have to dismantle them individually, because if you don't, they compound. And compound doubt is paralyzing. Let me show you how to dismantle worthiness doubt. It says you're not good enough for this opportunity. And the response is not yes I am. That's just arguing with the voice. The response is I don't have to be good enough. I just have to be willing to try. Worthiness is not a prerequisite for action. Willingness is. You don't earn the right to try. You just try. And trying is how you become worthy. So you flip the script. You don't wait to feel worthy. You act and let the action create the worthiness. But here's the trap. Most people try to eliminate doubt before acting. They think once I feel confident, then I'll start. But confidence doesn't create action. Action creates confidence. You're not going to feel ready sitting on the couch. You'll feel ready after you've started, after you've taken the first step, after you've proven to yourself that you can move despite the doubt. That's when confidence appears, not before. So you don't wait for the feeling, you create the feeling through movement. Here's the psychology: doubt thrives in inaction. When you're sitting still, overthinking, the doubt grows, it multiplies, it builds a case against you. But the moment you act, the doubt loses power, because action is evidence, and evidence is stronger than speculation. You doubted you could do it, but you did it. Now what? The doubt has to adjust. It can't deny what actually happened, so it shrinks, and the more you act despite it, the smaller it becomes. Now here's where it gets interesting. The voice of doubt is not random, it has specific triggers, and if you identify the triggers, you can predict when it will appear. And prediction creates control. Most people are ambushed by doubt. It shows up and they're caught off guard. But if you know it's coming, you can prepare. You can have a response ready. And a ready response is faster than a reactive defense. Here's how you identify the triggers. Track your doubt for 3 days. Every time it appears, write down what you were thinking about or doing right before. You'll see patterns. Maybe it appears when you think about visibility, or when you imagine success, or when you're about to take action. Once you see the pattern, you can intercept it. I'm about to do something that matters, so I know doubt will show up. And when it does, I'll acknowledge it and move anyway. You're not surprised anymore. You're prepared. Let me give you the protocol. When doubt appears, you name it, out loud if possible. This is doubt. It's trying to protect me from perceived failure. You've externalized it. You're not the doubt. You're the observer of the doubt, and observers have power. Then you ask one question: is this thought helping me or stopping me? If it's stopping you, you dismiss it. You don't argue with it. You don't try to convince it. You just say not useful and redirect your focus to action. Here's what happens when you practice this consistently. Week 1, you're catching the doubt but still feeling it intensely. Week 2, the intensity drops. You notice it but it doesn't consume you. Week 3, it shows up but you're dismissing it almost automatically. Week 4, it's background noise. You're aware of it but unaffected by it. And by week 8, you've built a new default. Doubt still appears, but it doesn't stop you. And doubt that doesn't stop you is just a thought, powerless. But here's the part most people miss. You can't just silence doubt, you have to replace it, because your brain needs something to think. And if you remove the doubt without installing a new thought, the void fills with doubt again. So you replace it with evidence-based belief, not affirmations. Evidence. I've done hard things before. This is just another one. I didn't know how to do X, and I figured it out. I'll figure this out too. You're building on proof, not hope. And proof is unshakable. Here's what elite performers do that most people don't. They collect evidence of their capability. They keep a record of wins. Every time they do something that scared them, they write it down. And when doubt appears, they read the list. They remind themselves of the evidence. And the evidence overpowers the doubt. Because the doubt is speculation, the evidence is fact, and facts win. Now here's the secret method I promised you. It's called the doubt dialogue. When doubt shows up, you don't suppress it. You interrogate it. You ask it questions. What are you afraid of? What's the worst that could happen? And if that happens, can I handle it? And here's what you discover: the worst-case scenario is almost never as bad as your brain makes it seem. And even if it happens, you'll survive it. You've survived every worst-case scenario you've faced so far. You're still here. So the doubt is protecting you from a threat that either won't happen or won't destroy you. Either way, it's not a valid reason to stop. Here's what happens when you interrogate doubt consistently. It stops presenting itself as truth. It knows you're going to question it, so it gets quieter. It shows up less. And when it does, it's tentative. It's no longer a command. It's a suggestion. And you can dismiss suggestions. You're not fighting doubt. You're just not obeying it. And over time, your brain realizes that disobeying doubt leads to growth, not destruction. And it rewires. It stops sending the signal as often, because the signal is being ignored. But here's the trap. Some people silence their doubt so effectively that they become reckless. They ignore all caution. And that's dangerous, because not all doubt is unhelpful. Some doubt is discernment. The key is knowing the difference. Self-doubt questions your worth and capability. Discernment questions your strategy and preparation. Self-doubt says you can't. Discernment says, let's make sure you're ready. One is fear-based, the other is wisdom-based, and you need to distinguish between them. Here's the identity shift you need. You're not someone plagued by doubt. You're someone who experiences doubt and acts anyway. Doubt is not evidence of weakness. It's evidence of growth, because doubt only appears when you're doing something that matters, when you're stretching, when you're attempting something new. If you never feel doubt, you're not challenging yourself, so the presence of doubt is not a stop sign. It's a signal that you're on the right path, and you thank it for confirming you're doing something significant. Then you move. Let me show you what happens if you don't silence your doubt. 5 years from now, you're in the same place, still dreaming, still planning, still waiting to feel ready. And the gap between who you are and who you could have been is massive, because every year you let doubt win is a year you don't grow. And compounded over time, that's a different life, a smaller life, a life of safety and regret. And the tragedy is it didn't have to be that way. The only thing between you and the life you want is the willingness to act despite the voice that says you can't. Here's the truth, the doubt will never fully go away. Even the most successful people still hear it, but they've learned it's not the commander, it's just a passenger. It can be in the car, but it's not driving. You are, and as long as you're driving, the doubt can talk all at once. It doesn't get to choose the destination, and the destination is determined by action, not by silence. Now let me tell you what you're losing every day you let doubt make your decisions. You're losing time you can't get back. You're losing versions of yourself you'll never meet. You're losing experiences, connections, and growth. You're losing the life that was possible, and you're trading it for the comfort of not being judged. But here's the secret, you're already being judged by the most important person, yourself. And every time you let doubt stop you, you judge yourself as someone who can't. And that judgment hurts more than any external criticism ever could. Here's the protocol for today. Right now, you're going to identify one thing you've been doubting yourself about. One goal, one conversation, one action, and you're going to do it. Not perfectly, not confidently. You're going to do it scared. You're going to do it while the doubt is screaming. And you're going to prove to yourself that the doubt was lying, that you can act despite it. And that action is the beginning of silencing it permanently, because silence doesn't come from convincing doubt to be quiet. It comes from proving doubt wrong so many times that it stops showing up. It comes from building a history of I was scared and I did it anyway, and that history becomes louder than the voice. And when the history is loud enough, the doubt fades to a whisper, and whispers can't stop you. Silence your doubt, not by fighting it, but by acting despite it, not by waiting for it to leave, but by moving while it's present, not by becoming fearless, but by becoming someone who doesn't let fear decide, and that someone is built one action at a time. Starting now, what's the one thing you're doing today that doubt has been stopping? Do it, and silence starts.